254. Say that number out loud. 254 volcanic earthquakes in a single day, not a week, not a month, one day. And that is not even the most alarming part. Right now, at this very moment, three separate rivers of lava are racing down the slopes of Mayon Volcano. Three simultaneously, carving burning paths through one of the most densely populated volcanic regions in Southeast Asia, and the people living at the base of this mountain, farmers, families, communities that have built their entire lives on the fertile volcanic soil of Mayon slopes. They are watching those lava rivers from their windows right now, some of them refusing to leave, because this land is everything they have. Further into this video, I will explain exactly what 254 earthquakes in one day means scientifically. I will tell you what three simultaneous lava flows tells us about what is happening inside this volcano right now. And I will tell you why volcanologists at the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, PHIVOLCS, are not sleeping easily tonight. Stay with me because this situation is moving fast. So let me set the scene properly. Mayon Volcano, Albay Province, Luzon Island, the Philippines. It rises 2,463 meters above sea level. That is 8,081 feet. And it is considered by many volcanologists to be the most perfectly shaped stratovolcano on Earth. That near-perfect cone, that extraordinary symmetry, it is beautiful, devastatingly beautiful, because underneath that perfect shape is one of the most consistently active and dangerous volcanic systems in the entire Pacific Ring of Fire. Mayon has erupted over 50 times in recorded history, more than any other volcano in the Philippines. And right now, PHIVOLCS is recording a level of activity that has triggered elevated alert status. The numbers coming out of their monitoring network are extraordinary. 254 volcanic earthquakes detected in a single 24-hour observation period. Let me explain what volcanic earthquakes are, because they are different from regular earthquakes. A volcanic earthquake is seismic activity directly caused by the movement of magma, by fluid pressure changes inside the volcanic conduit, by rock fracturing as magma forces its way through the crust. Each one of those 254 events represents the volcano's internal system under stress. Magma pushing, rock cracking, pressure building, and alongside those 254 earthquakes, PHIVOLCS instruments recorded rockfall events, pyroclastic density current deposits on the upper slopes, elevated sulfur dioxide emissions, and those three lava flows, channeling down the Bonga, Basud, and Miisi gullies on the southeastern and southern flanks of the volcano, the longest of those flows extending several kilometers down the slope, glowing orange at night, visible from communities kilometers away. PHIVOLCS has maintained Alert Level 3 on Mayon. Alert Level 3 in the Philippine Volcanic Alert System means magmatic unrest with tendency toward hazardous eruption. That is the definition. Tendency toward hazardous eruption. And the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone around the volcano's summit, plus an extended danger zone on the southern flanks, are under active evacuation orders. Thousands of residents have been displaced, and I will get to their stories in a moment because they are important. They are the human reality behind these numbers, the communities living on Mayon's slopes. I want you to understand who these people are because it matters. The fertile volcanic soil at the base of Mayon is some of the most productive agricultural land in the Philippines. Rice paddies, coconut plantations, abaca fiber farms, vegetable gardens. Families have been farming this land for generations, some for centuries, and when PHIVOLCS issues evacuation orders, these families face an impossible choice: leave everything, their crops, their livestock, their homes, their livelihoods, and go to evacuation centers that are crowded, hot, and offer no certainty about when they will be able to return, or stay and risk everything. One farmer from a barangay on Mayan's southern flank, a man whose family has grown rice on the same land for 3 generations, described watching the lava flow from the edge of his property. He said it moves slowly at first. You think you have time. You think you can stay just a little longer, and then it gets faster, and it does not stop, and it does not turn. It just keeps coming. He said his grandfather told him about the 1984 eruption, how the lava took the lower fields, how it took months to stop, how they rebuilt. He said, "We always rebuild, because where else do we go? This land feeds us." When I read that, guys, I had to sit with it, because that is the reality of volcanic communities worldwide. They are not unaware of the danger. They live with it. They calculate it every single day, and the fertile soil that the volcano gives them is also the same soil that the volcano can take back. In another account from a local government official in Albay province, she described the logistics of managing thousands of displaced families, the evacuation centers at schools and gymnasiums, children missing classes, elderly residents suffering in the heat, farmers watching their crops wither while they wait at the evacuation center. She said, "Every day we keep people out of the danger zone is potentially a life saved, but every day also costs these families something they cannot get back." And she said, "Mayon does not give you a deadline. It makes you wait, and the waiting is its own kind of suffering." When I heard that, the waiting is its own kind of suffering, that sentence did something to me. Because that is the psychological reality of living next to an active volcano in a prolonged eruption episode. It is not just the physical danger, it is the uncertainty, the not knowing when it ends, the watching and waiting. Before we get into the deep science of what is happening inside Mayon right now and why 254 earthquakes in one day is such a significant number, can you do me a favor? Give this video a like and a hype. Share it with someone who needs to know about this. Leave me a comment. I want to know if any of you have connections to the Philippines, to Albay province, to the communities around Mayon. It costs you nothing. It helps this channel enormously, and it means more people get the information they need. Okay, let's get into the science, because what is happening inside Mayon right now is extraordinary. So why 254 volcanic earthquakes in one day? What does that number actually tell us scientifically? Let me break this down. Mayon is what volcanologists classify as an open vent volcano. That means its conduit, the channel through which magma moves from the magma chamber to the surface, is relatively open, not completely blocked or sealed. This is why Mayon produces lava flows rather than only explosive eruptions. The magma has a relatively open pathway to the surface. But open vent does not mean stable. As magma rises through the conduit, it interacts with the surrounding rock, it creates stress, it fractures rock as it pushes through, and each fracture, each stress release in the volcanic edifice creates a seismic event, a volcanic earthquake. Now, the rate of those earthquakes tells you something critical. It tells you how actively magma is moving through the system. Low earthquake rates. Magma movement is slow. Elevated earthquake rates. Magma is moving more actively. Very high earthquake rates. The system is under significant stress. Conduits are being forced open. New pathways are potentially being created, and 254 volcanic earthquakes in a single day, that is a high rate. That is telling Five Oaks that the magmatic system beneath Mayon is under significant and sustained stress right now. The magma is not sitting still. It is moving, it is pushing, it is finding pathways. And 3 of those pathways, the Bonga Gully, the Basud Gully, the Miisi Gully, are currently carrying active lava flows down the southern and southeastern flanks. Now let me explain what is happening with those 3 lava flows. Because 3 simultaneous lava channels is significant, Mayon's lava flows are fed from the summit lava dome. The dome is the plug of solidified lava at the summit vent. As fresh magma pushes up from below, it feeds the dome. The dome grows, and as it grows, it becomes unstable. Sections collapse, and when a section of the lava dome collapses, it sends a cascade of hot lava and volcanic debris down the slope, sometimes as a lava flow. sometimes as a pyroclastic density current, which is far more dangerous. A pyroclastic density current, remember, is a fast-moving mixture of hot gas and volcanic material. Temperatures up to 700 degrees Celsius, that is 300 degrees Fahrenheit, speeds up to 700 kilometers per hour, 430 miles per hour. You cannot outrun it. And Fivolx has already recorded pyroclastic density current events on Mayon's upper slopes during this eruptive episode. Small ones, confined to the upper flanks. But pyroclastic density currents on the upper slopes are a warning sign. They indicate dome instability. They indicate that larger, more dangerous PDC events are possible if the dome collapses more significantly. This is precisely why Fivolx has extended the danger zone on the southern flanks, and why they are watching the dome cameras and seismic instruments around the clock. The SO2 measurements are the third major indicator. Fivolx DOA's spectrometer measurements have been recording sulfur dioxide emissions from Mayon during this eruptive period, SO2 values in the thousands of tons per day. Those emissions confirm what the seismicity and lava flows already suggest. Fresh degassing magma is reaching shallow depths. It is close to the surface. It is fueling everything we are seeing. So I did a research deep dive into Mayon's eruptive history. And guys, what this volcano's record shows is genuinely sobering. Mayon has been erupting since at least 1616. That is the earliest documented eruption in its historical record, over 4 centuries of recorded volcanic activity. And in that record, some events stand out with terrible clarity. The 1814 eruption. This is considered one of the deadliest eruptions in Philippine history. Pyroclastic flows descended Mayon's flanks and completely buried the town of Cagsawa. Over 2,200 people died. The ruins of the Cagsawa church still stand today. Partially submerged in volcanic debris, the bell tower rising above the hardened Lahar Plain, a permanent monument to what Mayon is capable of. I have to say, when you look at images of those ruins, that tower standing in the middle of a lava plain, it does something to you. It makes the history visceral. It makes it real in a way that no number can. Then the 1993 eruption, a series of powerful pyroclastic density currents descended the volcano's flanks with little warning. 77 people died, including a group of scientists and journalists who had ventured too close to the active zone. The Fivolx volcanologist Dr. Raimundo Punongbayan lost several colleagues in that event. It was a tragedy that fundamentally shaped how volcanic monitoring and exclusion zones are managed in the Philippines today. The 2018 eruption was one of the most significant in recent decades. Lava fountaining from the summit, lava flows extending kilometers down the flanks, pyroclastic density currents. Ash fall across multiple provinces. Over 80,000 people displaced at the peak of the crisis. 80,000 people. And the lahars, volcanic mudflows triggered by rainfall mixing with loose volcanic deposits on the slopes, continued for months after the main eruptive activity subsided, destroying roads, burying farmland, filling river channels, creating new flood hazards that persist for years. This is Mayon's pattern: eruptive episode, then lahars, then rebuilding, then another eruptive episode. And the communities at the base of this mountain have lived this cycle generation after generation. Now in 2023, Mayon had another significant eruptive episode: elevated seismicity, lava flows, PDC events, thousands displaced. That episode bears remarkable similarity to what we are seeing right now. The same precursor signals, the same escalation pattern. And Fivolx scientists who lived through the 2023 episode are looking at the current data in 254 volcanic earthquakes in one day. 3 active lava flows, elevated SO2, PDC deposits on the upper flanks. And they are not treating this as routine. So why does what happens at Mayon matter beyond the Philippines? Beyond Albay province? Let me give you the bigger picture. First, the immediate human scale. Albay province has a population of approximately 1.4 million people. The city of Legazpi, the regional capital, sits in the direct shadow of Mayon. over 200,000 people in Legazpi City alone, within the potential impact zone of a major Mayon eruption. In terms of urban population exposure to volcanic hazard, Mayon and Legazpi represent one of the most serious situations anywhere in the world. Only Naples and Vesuvius, and Kagoshima and Sakurajima, compare in terms of sheer population at risk. Second, the aviation impact. Legazpi Airport serves the Bicol region, a major route for domestic Philippine aviation. Volcanic ash from Mayon directly affects this airport. And with the Philippines being a major archipelago nation dependent on aviation connectivity, disruption at Legazpi cascades through the regional transport network. Third, the agricultural devastation dimension. Albay province produces rice, coconut, and abaca. Philippine abaca fiber is critical to global specialty paper and rope manufacturing. The Philippines produces over 85% of the world's abaca fiber. Much of that production is centered in Bicol. In the very provinces surrounding Mayon, volcanic ash and lahar damage to this production has global supply chain implications. Fourth, and this is the broader tectonic context, Mayon does not erupt in isolation. It sits on the Philippine Mobile Belt, one of the most tectonically complex regions in the world, where the Philippine Plate, the Eurasian Plate, and the Pacific Plate all interact, generating subduction, generating volcanic arcs, generating some of the most intense seismic and volcanic activity on Earth. Mayon, Taal, Canlaon, Bulusan. The Philippines has 24 potentially active volcanoes, and currently, multiple of those systems are showing elevated unrest simultaneously. This is not random. This is the Philippine Mobile Belt expressing its tectonic character right now. So what does 5volx watch for from here? What are the signals that tell scientists whether this situation escalates or stabilizes? The volcanic earthquake rate. If daily earthquake counts continue at 254 or rise higher, especially if deeper earthquakes appear in the swarm, that indicates more magma is rising from greater depth, more fuel for the system. The lava flow advance rate. 5volx uses thermal cameras and field observations to track how quickly the lava flows are advancing down the gullies. Acceleration in flow rate means more magma is being delivered from above. Deceleration means the supply is potentially slowing, the SO2 flux. If sulfur dioxide emissions increase significantly, more magma is degassing at shallow depths, more magma reaching the surface. The lava dome morphology. Changes in the shape and height of the summit dome, observable by webcam and drone surveillance, tell scientists about dome growth rate and stability. A rapidly growing dome under sustained seismic activity is more likely to collapse, and dome collapse is the trigger for the larger pyroclastic density currents, the ones that can reach the lower slopes, the ones that can reach communities, and alert level escalation. If 5volx raises the alert to level 4, that means hazardous eruption imminent. Level 4 would trigger expanded evacuation zones, mass displacement, and international attention. Right now, the situation is at level 3, but the combination of signals we are seeing, 254 earthquakes in a day, 3 active lava rivers, PDC deposits on the upper flanks, elevated SO2, these are not the numbers of a volcano that is quieting down. These are the numbers of a volcano that is intensifying, and 5volx scientists are watching every data point with the knowledge of what this mountain has done before, what it did in 1814, what it did in 1993, what it did in 2018, and what it is clearly capable of doing again. Guys, I hope this gave you the real picture of what is happening at Mayon right now, not just a headline number, not just a dramatic image of glowing lava at night, but the full story, the science, the seismicity, the lava dome dynamics, the history of 1814 and 1993. The real communities living in the shadow of this extraordinary mountain, the agricultural and humanitarian stakes, the tectonic context of the Philippine Mobile Belt. This story connects to so much more. The broader volcanic activity across the Philippines right now, the Ring of Fire elevated activity we have been tracking. All of that is in the end screen. Go and check it out. I have been following all of these events as they develop. And I will stay on the pulse of this one for you because 254 earthquakes in a single day and 3 rivers of lava racing down the slopes. This is not over, not even close. If you want to support the channel, you know how it works. I do not want to do a brand thing here. A coffee keeps this going, and if you are new here, subscribe, because when Mayon makes its next move, you will want to know immediately. Stay safe, guys. Be aware. Look up at the mountains around you and know what they are capable of. Bye-bye.